My stepmother slapped me at her own birthday party, right after I wrapped the gift she bought herself. She didn't know my little cousin was filming. He tugged my sleeve and whispered, "I filmed everything." 48 hours later, that one video triggered a hidden clause, stripped my father of his company, and gave it to the useless daughter they used as an ATM for 10 years. My name is Vanessa Hansen. I am 32 years old, and I am currently hidden away in a windowless catering staging room that smells like industrial carpet cleaner and burnt linen. Outside this room, in the main ballroom of the Aurora Grand Hotel, is a party that costs more than most people's homes. This is Lakewood, Illinois, and the Aurora Grand is where the city's elite come to pretend they are royalty. Tonight, the glass walls, stretching 20 feet high to overlook the pathetic skyline of our fictional city, are vibrating with the sound of a live string quartet. The chandeliers look like frozen waterfalls, dripping crystal light onto the 200 guests below. Those guests are a curated list of power. I recognize Judge Allister, who just sent a man away for life. I see State Senator Brown, laughing too loudly with a real estate developer who just bulldozed a historic neighborhood, and I see the mayor, raising a glass of champagne, his smile fixed and false. They are all here for one person, and it is not me. They are here to celebrate my stepmother, Lydia Mercer. Tonight is her 50th birthday, a milestone she has transformed into a coronation. She is not just Lydia. She is, according to the heavy linen programs placed at every table, the community queen of Lakewood. And they are here, of course, for my father, Graham Mercer, the CEO of Mercer Outfitters, the billion-dollar home goods retail chain he built from a single hardware store. He is the sun, and Lydia is the glittering, expensive planet closest to him. The 200 guests are just satellites, orbiting the warmth of his money, hoping to catch a little of his light. I am not a planet. I am not even a satellite. I am the unpaid, unacknowledged ground crew. My fingers ache. I am finishing the last task of the night, the one I was explicitly assigned when I arrived. I am wrapping Lydia's main gift. My hands are steady as I fasten the enormous, complicated silk bow. It is a deep navy blue box, embossed with the name of a jeweler that requires a private appointment. The card, handwritten by my father's assistant, reads, "To my brilliant wife, 50 and more fabulous than ever, all my love, G." It is a beautiful lie. Lydia bought this necklace for herself last Tuesday on a shopping trip to Chicago. My father was in a board meeting and likely forgot the date entirely until his phone reminded him. Lydia charged the piece to the joint household account, the same account she uses for her charity luncheons, her spa days, and her car lease. The same account that I, Vanessa Hansen, a 32-year-old financial analyst, am regularly asked to top off when their cash flow gets tight. So here I am, the daughter of the CEO, hiding in a closet, wrapping a gift my stepmother bought for herself, funded, in part, by the money I earn, so that my father can present it to her in front of 200 people and be praised for his generosity. This is my function. I am the emergency contact for their reputation. I snip the final ribbon. The bow is perfect. I sit back on the metal folding chair, the only furniture in the room besides the long, draped table covered in lesser gifts. I can hear Lydia's voice through the wall, amplified by a microphone. She is giving a speech, thanking everyone for supporting her vision. The door to the staging room bursts open, and the sound of the party triples. A rush of perfume, something heavy and floral, fills the stale air. Lydia. She is a vision in a midnight blue sequined gown, the exact shade of the jewelry box. Her blonde hair is sprayed into a helmet of submission. Her face is a mask of gracious joy. Until she sees me, the mask doesn't slip. It shatters. She stalks into the room. She doesn't walk. Her heels click aggressively on the concrete floor hidden beneath the cheap carpet. "Are you finished?" she hisses. She is still smiling, in case anyone is watching from the hall. "Just finished," I say, keeping my voice neutral. I gesture to the box. She ignores me and strides to the table. She inspects the gift, turning it over in her hands. Her eyes, narrowed and critical, scan every seam. I have been wrapping her surprise gifts for 10 years. I am a professional. But tonight, she finds the flaw. "Here," she snaps, her finger jabbing the corner of the box. I lean in. On the edge of the gold foil paper, there is a minuscule scratch, no wider than a fingernail paring. My nail must have caught it when I smoothed the edge. It is invisible to anyone not actively hunting for a reason to be cruel. "Lydia, no one will ever see that," I say quietly. "I see it," she replies, her voice dropping to a dangerous low. The staging room door is still open. A catering assistant, a young man stacking champagne flutes, freezes just outside, pretending not to listen. Two of my aunts, my father's sisters, linger in the hallway, their faces masks of polite curiosity. They hear it all. "You cannot," Lydia continues, her voice rising just enough to carry. "Do one thing right, one simple thing. This entire night has to be perfect. The senator is here, the board is here, and you are in the back, ruining the presentation. This is the family image. Vanessa, the one you constantly fail to uphold." I stand up. My legs feel heavy. It is a tiny scratch on a piece of paper. "It is emblematic," she shrieks. The smile is gone. This is the real Lydia, the one who screams at housekeepers for using the wrong polish. "It is emblematic of your entire attitude. You think you are better than this, but you are not. You are nothing without this family. You are nothing without what your father and I provide." I should be used to it. I should let it wash over me. But the smell of the lilies and the throb of the string quartet and the sight of that necklace I helped pay for, it all clicks. "What you provide?" I ask. My voice is too quiet, but it cuts through her volume. "Lydia, I transfer $30,000 a month to that household account just to keep your vision afloat. I think I've more than paid for the wrapping paper." It is the first time I have ever said the truth out loud at one of these events. I see the realization in her eyes, not shame, not guilt. She is furious that I broke the fourth wall. She is furious that I reminded her of her dependence in front of an audience. She takes a step forward. I brace. She slaps me. It is not a movie slap, where the head turns gracefully. It is a gunshot, a full-palmed, open-handed strike that cracks against my cheekbone. My head snaps back. The sound is so loud it seems to suck the air from the room. The first sensation is a bright, white shock of nothing. Then, the ringing in my ear, high-pitched and violent. And then, the heat, a deep, agonizing throb that radiates from my jaw to my temple. I taste copper. My lip is split. "How dare you?" she breathes, her face pale with rage. She is not done. She shoves me, hard, with both hands against my shoulder. I am 32 years old, but I'm not prepared for it. I stumble backward, my heel catching on the cheap carpet. I hit the gift table. The sound is a crash. The beautiful navy box goes flying. A stack of smaller gifts, crystal vases, expensive picture frames, topples to the floor. Glass shatters. The music outside seems to stop. The silence in the staging room is absolute, broken only by the sharp, panicked ringing in my own ear. The hallway is no longer curious. It is horrified. The catering assistant is frozen. My aunts have their hands over their mouths. I see the flash of a dinner jacket. Judge Allister. His face a mask of disbelief. Lydia sees them. The pure rage on her face vanishes, replaced by the instant, chilling performance of panic. "Oh my God," she gasps. The perfect hostess. She lunges forward, grabbing my arm, her nails digging into my skin. "Vanessa, darling, you tripped. Are you all right?" She tries to pull me up, but I am a dead weight. I am paralyzed, staring at the shattered glass on the floor. "She is so clumsy," Lydia laughs, a high-pitched, terrified sound aimed at the doorway. "She always does this. Are you okay, baby? Everyone, she is fine. Just a little accident." She is trying to pull me to my feet, to hide me, to erase the last 30 seconds. My cheek feels like it is swelling to twice its size. And then, I feel a different touch. Someone is at my other elbow, a small hand. I turn my head, wincing at the pull of my split lip. It is Noah, my 14-year-old cousin. He is the son of my mother's sister, the only part of the family that isn't under Graham or Lydia's control. He is always quiet, always in the background, always hiding behind his phone. He is pale, his eyes wide behind his glasses. He looks terrified. He tugs my sleeve. He leans in, shielding his mouth from Lydia, who is still performing for the growing crowd in the doorway. His voice is barely audible, trembling so hard I can almost feel it. I filmed everything. I look at him. I look at the small, dark lens of his phone clutched in his shaking hand. I filmed everything. I blink, once, twice, the fog of shock, the ringing, the humiliation, it all evaporates. It is replaced by something cold, sharp, and perfectly, terrifyingly clear. I look past Lydia, still babbling about my clumsiness. I look past the shocked faces in the hall. I see the official event videographer near the main stage, his camera light on, his lens aimed our way, zooming in to capture the drama. I look right at it. I look right at the lens, at the man behind it, at the audience that will one day see this. If your own family has ever used your money, your compliance, and your silence to humiliate you, I need you to listen to this. My name is Vanessa Hansen, and that slap was the most expensive mistake Lydia Mercer ever made. From that slap to the moment I stood in my father's boardroom and stripped them of their company, their titles, and their power, took exactly 48 hours. To understand the slap, you have to understand the decade that bought it. You have to understand how a family can look at a billion-dollar company and a 32-year-old daughter and see only one of them as a viable asset. I grew up in Crescent Falls, Colorado, in a small house with a big view of the mountains. It was just me and my mom for the first 10 years. My father, Graham Mercer, was always busy. He was building. Back then, Mercer Outfitters was a single, ambitious hardware store in downtown Lakewood. He was the man with the vision, and my mother was the quiet, steady woman who believed him. Then, when I was 10, she got sick. The kind of sick that moves fast and apologies to no one. 6 months from diagnosis to the funeral. My father was adrift, but not for long. Grief, for Graham Mercer, is an inconvenience, a problem of logistics. He solved it 2 years later by marrying Lydia. She was a local fundraising queen for the biggest church in Crescent Falls. She knew how to work a room, how to remember the names of people's children, how to make a donation of $500 feel like a personal blessing. She saw my father, a grieving, newly wealthy widower, and saw a project, or rather, a merger. In the 20 years since, my father turned that one store into a national chain, 200 locations across the country. Mercer Outfitters became a byword for reliable, upper-middle-class home goods, and Graham Mercer became a titan. But he never changed his mind about one thing. Daughters just are not built for the rough and tumble. Ness, he told me, ruffling my hair, when I was 15 and had just won the state math competition, it is a different kind of brain. You are smart, sure, but you are suited for the softer side. You will do charity work, like Lydia. That is where the real grace is. He said it with such paternal pride, such absolute certainty. He was not being cruel. He was just stating what he believed to be a fact of nature, like gravity, or the superiority of his own judgment. I did not want the softer side. I wanted the numbers. The numbers always told the truth. I got a full ride to one of the best universities in the country. I graduated, summa cum laude, with a degree in finance, while Lydia was redecorating the Crescent Falls house for the 3rd time. I was accepting a position as a junior analyst at Northbridge Capital Group, a private equity firm in New Jersey that ate badly run companies for breakfast. I was good at it. I was, it turned out, built for the rough and tumble. I was 22, just starting my career, when the first text came. It was from Lydia. Dearest Vanessa, a little hiccup. Your father's main accounts are a bit cash stuck until the quarterly dividends post. Could you be an angel and cover the lake house repairs? It is just 12,000. It is all for you one day anyway. Darling, kiss kiss. I looked at my own bank account. I had just gotten my first real bonus. $12,000 was almost all of it. But it was for the family. It was cash stuck. I was a finance major. I understood. I made the transfer. 2 months later, honey, the bill for the new roof at the main house just came in, and it is a monster. 35,000. Your father is so stressed with the Q3 reports. Could you just handle it? You are my lifesaver. It was a different, warmer tone. I was her lifesaver. I handled it. The requests became a rhythm. They were small enough, at first, to be plausible, but they grew. The lake house repairs became the lake house property taxes. The roof bill became the new heating system. Then, the lifestyle creep began. Ness, darling, your father's old SUV is just embarrassing him at the club. We are looking at a new Escalade. Could you manage the down payment? We will handle the monthlies. I paid the down payment. 3 months later, I was handling the monthlies too, because my father forgot, and Lydia hated dealing with car finance. It became a torrent. Credit card bills for Lydia's shopping trips. She works so hard. Vanessa, she deserves to feel beautiful. The annual fees for my father's golf club. A $30,000 a year expense. It is where I do business. Ness, it is for the company. And the charity events, Lydia's true passion. She was not just a fundraiser anymore. She was a philanthropist, using my father's name to build her own brand. But philanthropists need seed money. Vanessa, I need you to sponsor a table at the Children's Hospital Gala. 25,000. It would look so bad if the Mercers were not represented at the top level. Vanessa, I pledged 50,000 to the new art museum wing. Your father promised the funds, but the new distribution center is draining him. Just cover it. It is all our legacy. It was all from my salary, my bonuses, the money I was earning. By the age of 28, as a senior analyst managing a portfolio worth hundreds of millions of dollars. It was never, not once, from the company dividends. Those, my father explained, were all reinvested, untouchable. The most painful part was the performance. At every family gathering, every holiday, my father would puff up his chest, look at my aunts and uncles, and gesture to me. So proud of Vanessa, he would say, his arm heavy on my shoulder. Still living off the Mercer name, of course, but she has got a nice little job. It is good for her to have a hobby. A hobby. I was, at that point, transferring over $50,000 a month just to keep their various accounts from defaulting. I was paying for the food we were eating. I was paying for the wine he was drinking. I was paying for the very suit he was wearing, which Lydia had put on her personal Amex, which I then paid off. I will never forget the Thanksgiving, 3 years ago. We were at the lake house, the one I had paid the taxes on for 6 straight years. The table was groaning with food. Lydia was in her element, directing her staff. My Aunt Madeline, my father's sister, turned to me. She was one of the few who was genuinely curious. Vanessa, what is it exactly that you do at that big firm? It all sounds so complicated. I opened my mouth to explain, to talk about market analysis, about leveraged buyouts, about the $200 million acquisition I had just quarterbacked. My father cut me off. He laughed, a big, booming sound. Oh, Maddie, do not get her started, he said, waving his wine glass. She just sits with spreadsheets all day. Numbers, numbers, numbers. She gets it from her mother's side. Thank God Lydia is here. Lydia is the one who knows how to connect with people. Vanessa does not have the leadership gene. Not really. She is a worker bee. I looked at him. I looked at Lydia, who was smiling, a gentle, condescending nod of agreement. Yes, dear, you are the worker bee. I am the queen. I was managing a team of 12. I was responsible for a portfolio that would make my father's entire year's profit look like a rounding error. But I was just a worker bee. I was just the girl who sat with spreadsheets. I went to the bathroom, locked the door, And I did not cry. I opened the secure app on my phone. I had started saving them 2 years into the requests. I saved every text from Lydia. Just handle it, darling. I saved every unctuous email from my father, a temporary shortfall, for the family. I saved every bank statement showing the wires from V, Hanson to G, Mercer Household Act. I saved every credit card bill I paid in their name. I even started taking notes after family dinners. November 24th. Thanksgiving. Dad referred to my job as spreadsheet work. Lydia agreed. Asked me after dinner to cover the $70,000 catering bill. It was no longer a matter of helping. It was a matter of survival. Theirs, paid for by me. I looked at the running total I kept in a private file. In 10 years, from the age of 22 to 32, I had transferred a total of $8,300,000 from my personal accounts to theirs. $8 million, and not once, in all that time, had I ever been publicly thanked. Not once had my father introduced me as anything other than his daughter who worked in finance. They just saw me as an ATM in a pantsuit. There was one person who saw it differently. Noah. He was my cousin, from my mother's side. His mother, my Aunt Alara, was my mom's sister. They were the poor side of the family, the ones who did not have a billion-dollar company. They were the ones who were quietly invited to Thanksgiving but seated at the end of the table. Noah was a small, quiet kid. He was always watching, always with a camera. At first, it was an old camcorder, then a DSLR, now his phone. He hid behind the lens. He filmed everything. The way the light hit the water, the way Lydia would smile at a guest and then scowl at a waiter, the way my father would lean in to tell a story. He was the only one who ever asked me real questions. "Is it hard?" he asked me one Christmas. When he was 12, we were sitting on the dock at the lake house. "Your job?" "Sometimes," I said. "It is a lot of pressure." "My dad says your dad thinks you are not a leader," he said. Not unkindly, just stating a fact. "My dad thinks leadership means giving speeches," I said. "My job is about being right when everyone else is wrong." He nodded, processing that. "I think you are right a lot," he said. He was the only one who listened, the only one who saw me as Vanessa, the financial analyst, and not Vanessa, the family ATM. He secretly idolized me, and I secretly, desperately appreciated it. I kept paying, I kept saving, I kept quiet. I knew, with the cold certainty of a balance sheet, that this was not sustainable. An entity that spends more than it earns will always go bankrupt. My family was no different. They called me a burden. Even as they drove the car I paid for and lived in the lake house I paid the taxes on, they called me not a leader, while they cashed the checks my leadership earned. They thought I was just a spreadsheet. They had no idea I was the one holding the ledger. You cannot be a victim and a strategist at the same time. The day I had that thought, sitting in my office at Northbridge Capital Group, was the day the worker bee died. I was 29. The requests from home had just crossed the $5 million mark. I was managing a portfolio of 9 figures, and I had just been told by Lydia that I needed to contribute to her new patio furniture. I was exhausted, not just by the work, but by the lie. I was tired of being two people, the shark at Northbridge and the goldfish at home. That night, I called David Chen, my only real friend from the analyst pool. David had left Northbridge a year before, disgusted with the bureaucracy. "They're parasites," I told him over a late-night dinner at a terrible diner. I didn't mean the partners at the firm. "So cut them off," he said, like it was simple. "I can't," I said. "Not yet. It's not just, I can't." "Then stop being their victim," he said, pushing a napkin at me. "Be their banker. A banker has leverage. A banker eventually calls the loan." That was the night Harbor Light Equity Partners was born. David and I pooled our resources, our contacts, and our exhaustion. We left our high-paying, soul-crushing jobs. We raised a small seed fund from contacts who knew we were smarter than our bosses. Our thesis was simple. We would acquire mismanaged, third-generation family companies, the kind of companies run by arrogant sons, incompetent nephews, or in some cases, vain second wives, who were running their parents' legacy into the ground. We specialized in potential. We saw value where others saw ruin. While my father, Graham Mercer, thought I was still just a normal analyst at some mid-level firm, I was, in fact, the co-founder and president of HarborLight. In 5 years, David and I grew our small fund into a monster. We were not just working in finance, we were moving markets. The worker bee, the girl who just sat with spreadsheets, was, as of that night in the Aurora Grand Hotel, managing assets in excess of $3.5 billion. My father thought I didn't have the leadership gene. I thought he was a terrible CEO. The difference was, I had the data to prove it. But HarborLight was only half of the plan. The other half was much older. It started with my other grandfather, my mother's father. He was a quiet, shrewd man who had made his money in logistics. He was the one who gave my father his initial seed money, not as a gift, but as an investment. He had seen my father's drive, but he had also seen his ego, and he had protected his daughter, and by extension, me, from it. When I was 20, long before Lydia's spending became a crisis, I had been at the family lawyer's office, signing some routine trust paperwork. I was bored. I started flipping through the original Mercer Outfitters and Corporation documents, and I found my maternal grandfather's trust, the one that held his original stake in the company. Buried deep in the bylaws, in Section 4, was a clause I had never seen before. It was called the Respect Clause. It was archaic legal language. It stipulated that if any direct, named beneficiary of his trust, and I was the only one left, was subjected to systematic disrespect, public humiliation, or willful exclusion from the family's primary endeavors by the current acting controllers of the Mercer share, that beneficiary had a right. It was not a small right. The beneficiary could file a petition with the trust's executors to force the offending controllers to sell their entire voting stake back to the trust. Not at market value, not at what my father thought his empire was worth. At book value. A fixed, predetermined, insultingly low price set in 1995. It was a poison pill, a corporate time bomb. It was, I realized, my grandfather's way of protecting his investment from my father's character. The clause stipulated one final thing. It could only be triggered by irrefutable, undeniable proof, such as a video recording, an audio recording, or the sworn testimony of a non-beneficiary. I had pointed it out to the family lawyer, old Mr. Abernathy, who had been on my father's payroll for 30 years. The respect clause? He had chuckled, adjusting his glasses. Oh, that's just old-fashioned boilerplate. Vanessa, your grandfather was a character. It's meaningless. Don't you worry your pretty head about it. I smiled, I nodded, and as he turned to get me a water, I took out my phone and I photographed every single page. That night, I sent the JPEGs to a name I had gotten from a mentor, Amelia Rhodes. Amelia was not a family lawyer. She was a corporate litigator who specialized in hostile takeovers. She called me the next day. Her voice was not warm. It was sharp, like breaking glass. "Where did you get this?" she asked. "Does it matter?" "No," she said. "This is not boilerplate. Ms. Hanson, this is a loaded gun. Your grandfather was a very, very smart man. He built a trap door, and he gave you the only key. This book value price? It's about 2% of the company's current market valuation. Invoking this would be financial annihilation." We met for lunch, and for the next 5 years, Amelia and I built the plan. "The clause is the cannon," she explained, stirring her tea. "But you cannot fire a cannon without a fortress. Right now, you are just a girl with a secret. You need power." The plan was long. It was patient. It was expensive. First, I founded HarborLight. I needed my own capital, my own reputation, my own fortress, completely separate from the Mercer name. Second, we began the silent acquisition. Using HarborLight's resources and my own personal wealth, I began to buy Mercer Outfitters stock on the open market. But not as Vanessa Hansen. I created Summit Ridge Holdings, LLC, a boring name for a boring holding company. 6 months later, I formed Silverline Partners. A year after that, Northwind Trust. They were all just me. Each entity bought small, strategic blocks of Mercer Outfitters stock. We bought from disgruntled ex-employees. We bought from minor investors who were tired of my father's refusal to issue a real dividend. We bought, and we bought, and we bought. The entire time, we were meticulous. No single entity ever held more than 4.9% of the company. The second one of my shells got close to the 5% threshold that requires a public SEC filing. We stopped, and we started buying with a new one. It was a strategy of ghosts. Don't let them see you coming. Over 5 years, I built a silent, invisible stake. When that slap connected with my face, Graham Mercer and Lydia Mercer, combined, owned 31% of their own company. I, through my 3 shell corporations, owned 28%. I was a shark, swimming just below the surface of their yacht, and they were still throwing chum in the water, calling me their worker bee. I kept sending them the money. The $8 million? Amelia had been clear about that. Let them, she had advised. Every transfer is a receipt. Every request is a data point. We are not just building a case for the respect clause. We are building a case for a pattern of systematic financial abuse. Let them be greedy. Let them be arrogant. So I did. That $8 million was not a loss. It was not me being a victim. It was the cost of my admission. It was the price I paid to keep them arrogant, to keep them blinded by their own superiority, to keep me in the role of the useless daughter. I did not need them to love me. I just needed them to underestimate me at the right time, in the right place, in front of the right camera. Lydia's arrogance grew in direct proportion to my father's stock price. She was no longer just the CEO's wife. She was a brand. Her primary vehicle for this brand was the Mercer Hearts Foundation. Its stated mission was supporting Lakewood's future, a phrase so vague it could mean anything, and it did. Mostly, it meant supporting Lydia. As a courtesy, and because she thought it made her look transparent, Lydia had the foundation's annual report sent to my office in New Jersey. Have Vanessa look them over, I heard her tell my father on the phone. She is so good with those little numbers. It is good for her to feel involved. She thought I was an accountant. She had no idea I was an acquisitions analyst. I was not trained to check sums. I was trained to find fraud. And I found it. It was not even subtle. The Mercer Hearts Foundation was her personal slush fund. Event expenses that matched, dollar for dollar, invoices from her favorite Parisian couture house. Catering costs that were actually monthly lease payments on a new Maserati. Consulting fees paid to a ghost LLC that, after 10 minutes of digging, I found was registered to her personal Pilates instructor. She was not just skimming, she was siphoning. She was using tax-deductible charitable donations to fund her lifestyle, all while I was wiring her actual money from my salary to cover her household overages. Did I call the IRS? Did I alert the board? No, not yet. I took screenshots. I downloaded the financials. I cross-referenced the dates. I saved every file to a triple encrypted drive, nested deep in Harbor Light's private servers. It was not time to light the fuse. It was just time to build the bomb. The disconnect between her public persona and her private reality was staggering. That summer, at the annual 4th of July party at the lake house, the house I paid the taxes on, she provided the perfect example. I was inside, in the kitchen, getting a glass of water. The sliding door to the patio was open. Lydia was holding court by the pool with Marge Allister, the judge's wife, and 2 other women from the country club. I heard her laugh, that high tinkling sound she used when she was networking. "Oh, Marge, you have no idea," she said, her voice dripping with mock exhaustion. "Graham is a brilliant, brilliant man, but he is a disaster with personal cash flow. All his money is tied up in the company. Honestly, if it were not for Vanessa, I swear, If that girl did not send us her little paychecks, we would have lost this house years ago. Her friends murmured, impressed. How wonderful, one said, that she's so devoted. She knows her duty, Lydia said, accepting the praise. I stood frozen, the cold glass sweating in my hand. She was using my forced contributions as a sob story. She was painting herself as the beleaguered matriarch, barely holding it all together. Supported by her devoted daughter, she was twisting the narrative, making me the supporting character in her tale of noble sacrifice. I looked out the door, and I saw him. Noah. He was 13, almost 14, and in that awkward, invisible stage of adolescence. He was sitting in the shadow of the trellis, ostensibly reading a book, but his phone was resting on his knee, pointed right at Lydia's group. He saw me looking at him. His eyes went wide. He snapped the phone off and shoved it in his pocket, his face pale. He bolted, disappearing around the side of the house. He found me later, while I was clearing plates, doing the unpaid assistant work as usual. I heard what she said, he stammered, looking at his shoes. About the money, and I recorded some of it, just the audio. He looked terrified. But I deleted it, he said, too quickly. My mom would, actually disown me if she knew I was spying on Aunt Lydia. Please do not tell anyone. I will not, I said, putting a hand on his shoulder. It is okay. Noah, it is not your fight. He looked relieved, but also guilty. I knew he had not deleted it. He was a data hoarder, just like me. But I let it go. It was not his burden to carry. The true breaking point, the moment the countdown timer started in my head, came 2 months later, in September. My father called a small family dinner, in our world. That meant it was important. It was just me, my father, Lydia, and my cousin Chase, my father's nephew. Chase was 24 years old, had a communications degree from a party school, and had recently been fired from a mid-level marketing job for, as he put it, creative differences. My father stood at the head of the dining room table. He clinked his glass. I wanted to share some exciting news with the family, he boomed. As you know, I am looking to the future, to the next generation of Mercer outfitters. My heart, against all logic and evidence, gave a stupid, hopeful little leap. Lydia, he said, beaming at his wife, has done such a phenomenal job as the public face of this company, such an incredible job with Mercer Hearts, that I am officially moving her into the role of Chief Financial Officer. I stared at him. I almost choked on my water. CFO. He was making the woman who used charity funds to buy shoes the Chief Financial Officer of a billion-dollar, publicly traded company. He was not done. And he continued, clapping Chase on the back. I am bringing Chase on as the new Senior Vice President of Digital Strategy and Development. Time to get some new blood in. Chase, who probably thought digital strategy meant posting on Instagram. I looked at my father. I looked at Lydia, who was preening, touching her diamond necklace. I looked at Chase, who was already looking at his phone. This was his succession plan, a grifter and a moron. He had a 32-year-old daughter with a degree in finance from one of the best universities in the country, a daughter who was currently the president of a private equity fund managing $3.5 billion. And he chose them. He finally turned to me, his smile indulgent. Now, Vanessa, I know you were looking at the Q3 numbers for me. Any, little thoughts? The air was vibrating. I forced my voice to be calm, level. I did, I said, and I have a proposal. The company's online retail division is flat. You are losing 10% of the market share year over year to digital native brands. You are being bled dry because your e-commerce platform is 10 years out of date. I have a 3-point plan to restructure the entire online experience, pivot to a new fulfillment model, and... My father held up his hand. Stop right there, he sighed, that heavy theatrical sigh of a patient father. Ness, honey, I have told you, you are the numbers girl. You are not the strategy girl. You do not have the vision. He patted my hand. You just keep focusing on that great little job of yours. Keep making your money. That is so important. You make the money, and we will focus on doing the big things, the important work. Just do not meddle in company business. You make the money, and we will do the big things. My $8 million flashed before my eyes. The lake house taxes, the Escalade, the jewelry, the $30,000 golf membership. The silence stretched, and for the first time in my adult life, I spoke back. My voice was not loud. It was ice. I am the one pumping money into the holes in this company's budget every single month. Dad, I am paying for this dinner. I think I have earned the right to ask about the strategy. You could have heard a pin drop. Chase physically recoiled. My father's face went from ruddy to a deep, dangerous purple. He had never, ever been challenged at this table. Lydia, seeing the explosion about to happen, jumped in. She laughed, a high, tinkling, panicked sound. "Oh, Graham, stop talking shop. You are boring us all to tears," she trilled, clapping her hands together. "Enough business. We simply must discuss my party." The tension did not break. It was just paused. Lydia launched into her new, grander vision. "I have decided. We are not doing the club. We are renting the entire grand ballroom at the Aurora Grand Hotel," she announced. "This is not just a birthday. This is a celebration. It is time we truly thanked the community, all the people who have supported Mercer Outfitters." She had a draft of the program. "Look," she said, "I have already started on my speech, thanking the board, thanking the mayor, thanking our loyal... Oh, it will be magnificent." I saw my name nowhere. The next week, Noah called. He was in New Jersey, a fluke, for a national robotics competition. Can I see where you work?" he asked, his voice small. My mom said it is okay. I met him in the lobby. I brought him up to the 41st floor. The Harbor Light offices are not flashy, but they are solid, old wood, glass, and a quiet, expensive hum. He walked into my corner office, the one with the 2 walls of glass overlooking the Hudson River and the entire Manhattan skyline. He just stood there. This is your office?" He had only ever seen me at the lake house, in jeans, or at family dinners, in a conservative dress. "This is where I work, Noah." He sat in one of my leather guest chairs. My dad said, "Uncle Graham told him you were just an analyst, in a cubicle." I looked at him, this kid who saw everything, my one, unspoken ally. I hesitated. It was my cardinal rule. Never, ever mix the worlds. But I turned my laptop around. I did not show him a spreadsheet. I pulled up the internal Harbor Light dashboard, not the public-facing website, the real one. The one showing our assets under management, $3.5 billion. The one listing our 26 portfolio companies. The one with my name and title at the top, Vanessa Hansen, President. His jaw dropped. He pointed at the screen. Is that you, President?" "This is what I do, Noah," I said. His eyes were wide. "But why? Why do you not tell them? Why do you not tell Uncle Graham?" I turned and looked out the window at the city. "Because this," I said, gesturing to the skyline, to the numbers on the screen. "This is not for showing off to people who only see my value when I'm paying their bills. They do not get to know about this. They do not deserve to." He was quiet for a long time. As I walked him to the elevator, he looked at me with a completely new expression, awe. "You are like a superhero," he whispered, "with a secret identity." He fumbled with his phone, trying to be cool. "Well," he said, shrugging, "if you ever need someone to, film the truth or get your kryptonite or something, call me." I laughed. A real, genuine laugh. "I will keep that in mind, kid." I had no idea that in 3 weeks, I would... The party was set for October 19th. The official invitation arrived in my inbox 1 week before. I was at my desk, in the middle of closing a $50 million acquisition of a failing textile mill. The email was not from Lydia. It was not from my father. It was a mass evite from info@LydiaMercerEvents.com, sent by her new 22-year-old assistant. I scrolled down the digital card. Hosted by Mr. Graham Mercer and Mrs. Lydia Mercer. The board members were listed. The political guests were listed by name. And then, at the very bottom, in tiny, elegant script, was my name. It was not listed under family. It was listed under the heading, with special thanks to our sponsoring partners. I was not a daughter. I was not a guest. I was a sponsor. I was the ATM, and they had just sent me a receipt. I printed the email. I forwarded it to Amelia Rhodes. The countdown had begun. I arrive at the Aurora Grand at 7 p.m. I step out of the cab and into a sea of flashbulbs and valet attendants. The air is cold, but the entrance is blazing with heat lamps and the press of bodies in expensive wool coats and fur. I am not wearing fur. I am wearing a simple, dark teal silk dress. It is 5 years old, from a designer Lydia has never heard of, which means it is worthless in her eyes. It is elegant, it is understated, and it is a deliberate choice. I wear no jewelry, save for my mother's thin gold watch. I am not here to compete. I am not here to celebrate. I am here as a sponsor. I am here to make my appearance. The doorman does not recognize me. He opens the door, his eyes flicking past me to the Escalade pulling up behind my cab. I walk into the lobby, a cavern of marble and noise. The string quartet is loud, sawing away at some classical piece that has been butchered for a cocktail hour. I do not even make it to the check-in table. A young woman with a clipboard and a frantic headset spots me. She rushes over, her heels clicking. Ma'am, are you with the gift wrapping service? I look down at my silk dress. No. Oh, she says, confused. It is just, Mrs. Mercer's assistant said, you are Vanessa, right? I am. Oh, thank God, she says, grabbing my arm. Her relief is palpable. Lydia, Mrs. Mercer, has been asking for you. She said to send you to the staging room the second you arrived. She has a last-minute task for you. This way. She does not lead me toward the grand ballroom, where the crystal chandeliers are dripping light onto 200 guests. She leads me down a carpeted hallway, past the industrial kitchen doors, past the clatter of plates and the smell of hot ovens, to a metal-framed door marked Staff Only. She pushes it open for me. She is in here. She said it is an emergency. I step inside. The room is cold, lit by harsh fluorescent lights. The floor is concrete. Against one wall is a long metal folding table draped in a black cloth. It is a graveyard of gifts, all waiting to be presented. And there is Lydia. She is not in the ballroom, giving her speech. She is here, in a midnight blue sequined gown, her hair perfect, her face a mask of rage. You are late, she snaps. She does not say hello. The invitation said 7:30, I say. It is 7:05. Do not argue with me, she hisses. She points to the table. I have no time. I am on in 20 minutes. It needs to be wrapped, now. This is a long, slim, navy blue box. It is from a jeweler so exclusive they do not have a public storefront. It is the necklace, the one she bought for herself. Where is the paper? I do not know. Vanessa, find it. This is your... She waves her hand. Area of expertise. Just make it look like he bought it. Make it look romantic. I have to go charm the senator. She sweeps out, leaving a trail of expensive perfume. I am 32 years old. I am the president of Harborlight Equity Partners. I manage $3.5 billion, and I am in a concrete closet, on my knees, digging through a catering box to find the roll of gold foil paper Lydia's assistant bought. I find the scissors. I find the double-sided tape. I set the box on the table and I begin to work. My hands are steady, the corners are crisp, the seams are invisible. I am, as my father would say, a good worker bee. As I work, I can hear her. A speaker, wired into this closet, crackles to life. I hear the applause. I hear my father's voice, booming and proud. A woman who is the heart of this family, the heart of this community, my partner, my love, my 50 and fabulous wife, Lydia Mercer. More applause. I tape the final seam. Lydia's voice fills the small, cold room. It is smooth, practiced, dripping with false humility. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Graham, my rock. You are all so generous, but I could not do it alone. A woman is nothing without her family. Family is the beginning and the end. I start on the bow, a big, complicated silk ribbon. People talk about sacrifice, she coos, but is it really a sacrifice when you do it for the ones you love? When you dedicate your life to your husband, to your children, to building a legacy of giving? I pull the first loop of the bow taut. My hands are starting to ache. I have not sacrificed anything for her. I have been sacrificed. My bank account, my public identity, my place at the table. I am not family. I am sponsoring partner. I am just finishing the final knot on the bow when a catering assistant, a young man carrying a heavy tray of empty glasses, bursts through the door, walking backward. So sorry, he mutters, not seeing me. He backs directly into the gift table. The tray clatters. The table shudders. He turns, his eyes wide. Oh my God, I am so sorry. Ma'am. He sees the navy box. I see it, too. His tray hit the corner. It is fine, I say. Just be careful. I am so sorry, he says again, and he flees. I look at the box. It is fine. But the paper, right on the corner, where the tray hit, there is a tiny 3mm tear in the foil, a little white line. It is nothing, a flaw so small you would only see it if you were looking for it. The door bursts open again, the sound of the party, louder this time. Lydia. She is done with her speech. She is flushed with adrenaline and champagne. Is it done? She snaps. It is, I say. I hold up the box. She stalks over. She snatches it from my hands. She does not inspect it. She hunts it. Her eyes scan the seams, the ribbon, and she finds it. Her finger, with its perfect, blood-red nail, stabs the corner. What? She says, her voice a low, vibrating hiss. Is this? Lydia, it is nothing, I say. A waiter bumped the table. No one will ever see it. I see it, she breathes. I look past her. The door is still open. That same catering assistant is standing there, frozen, his tray of glasses shaking. My 2 aunts, the ones from Thanksgiving, are peering in, their faces tight with curiosity. They can hear her. You, she says, are a curse. Her voice is not a hiss anymore. It is rising. It is for the room. I give you one thing, one simple thing to do, Vanessa, and you ruin it. You deliberately ruin it. Lydia, that is not what happened. You are jealous, she shrieks. You are a jealous, petty, useless girl, and you wanted to ruin my night. You wanted to embarrass me. Lydia, stop. You are making a scene. I am making a scene? You are the one who destroyed your father's gift. You are the one who cannot stand to see anyone else happy. You have always been a drain on this family, a black hole of misery, and I am sick of it. I stand up. I am taller than her in my heels. You are done, I say. My voice is quiet, cold. I am not done, she says. She steps forward. The slap is a crack of thunder. It is not a tap. It is her entire body weight, her rage, her rings, connecting with my left cheek. My head snaps to the side so violently I feel my neck pop. White light explodes behind my eyes. The sound is deafening. A sonic boom that sucks all other sound from the room. I cannot hear the music. I cannot hear the party. I can only hear a high-pitched, screaming whine in my left ear. Then, the pain. It is not a sting. It is a fire. It is a deep, pounding, sickening throb that radiates from my jaw, up to my temple, and down into my teeth. I taste blood. My lip is split against my canine. The room is silent. The catering assistant's tray crashes to the floor. Glasses shatter everywhere. My aunts in the doorway gasp. I see Judge Alistair's face, pale and horrified. Someone, a man I do not know, quietly, gently, pulls the staging room door almost shut. Not all the way, but enough to hide the worst of it, enough to trap me in here with her. It is the ultimate humiliation. I am so toxic, so embarrassing, that they have to close the door. Lydia is breathing heavily, her chest heaving, her eyes wide and wild. She sees the faces in the crack of the door. She sees the shattered glass. She understands, in that instant, what she has done. The monster vanishes. The actress appears. "Oh my God," she gasps, her hands flying to her mouth. She lurches forward, grabbing my arm. Her nails dig in. "Vanessa, darling, you tripped. You tripped and fell." She yanks on my arm, trying to pull me upright, but I am dead weight, still paralyzed by the shock. "Oh, my clumsy girl," she laughs. A high, panicked, terrible sound. "She is just so clumsy. Everyone, it is fine. She just slipped." She is trying to pull me up, trying to rewrite the last 10 seconds. She shoves me, helping me, toward the back of the room, away from the door. "Just a little accident. Everyone, please, go back to the party. She is fine." I am not fine. My cheek is on fire. My ear is ringing. I am reeling. And in that moment of chaos, as Lydia is babbling to the door, I feel a tug on my other sleeve. I turn. Noah. He is 14. He is pale as a ghost. He is standing behind the now overturned gift table, where he must have been hiding, watching, the entire time. His hand is shaking. His phone is clutched in that hand, the lens pointing right at me. He looks at Lydia's back. He looks at me. He leans in so close his hair tickles my ear. He whispers, and his voice is trembling so badly I can barely understand him. "I filmed everything. I filmed all of it. Vanessa." He gulps, his eyes huge. I got the sound, too. I got her voice. I stare at him. The ringing in my ear fades. The throb in my cheek is still there, but it is distant. I feel a strange, cold bubble of hysteria rising in my throat. I do not cry. I start to laugh. It is a tiny sound. It is not even a laugh. It is a short, sharp exhale of air, a bark, a laugh of pure, unadulterated, triumphant clarity, the respect clause, irrefutable, undeniable proof. Lydia hears it. She spins around. "What?" she snaps. Her hostess panic forgotten. "What is so funny? What are you smiling at?" I put my hand to my face. The skin is hot, already swelling. "Nothing. Lydia," I say. My voice is thick. Her eyes narrow. She is confused. This is not the reaction she expected. I was supposed to cry. I was supposed to be broken. I am not. She looks at Noah, who shoves his phone deep into his pocket. "What is he doing in here?" she demands. "Get out. Both of you. Get out of my sight. Go. Go to the back balcony. Do not ruin this for me." She shoves me again, toward a dark door at the back of the staging room. I go. I step out into the cold night air. The balcony is small, designed for smokers. I walk to the railing and I press my burning cheek against the cold, wet metal. Below me, I can hear the valet, the traffic. Inside, I can hear the party. The music swells. The applause starts again. Louder this D. She is back on stage. They are probably giving her the necklace. My father is probably kissing her, praising his fabulous wife. Lydia Mercer is receiving the applause. She is accepting the flowers. She is being celebrated as the Queen of Lakewood. She has no idea. She has no idea that she just handed me a gift more valuable than any jewel. She has no idea that in her moment of uncontrolled, violent rage, she gave me the one thing I have spent the last 5 years planning for. A loaded gun, irrefutable proof. I stay on the balcony for exactly 5 minutes. letting the cold night air bite at my face. It does nothing to numb the deep, hot throb, but the cold metal of the railing against my hands keeps me grounded. My cheek is swelling. It is a real, physical thing, a prop I did not ask for but will absolutely use. I walk back into the staging room. It is empty. Noah is gone. Lydia is back at her party. The shattered glass is still on the floor. I push through the staff-only door and walk down the carpeted hall. Away from the music, I find the young event coordinator, the one with the headset. I let my voice shake. I am a good analyst. I can model any behavior. I am not feeling well, I say, and I let her see my face. The rising, red welt, the split lip. Her eyes go wide. Oh my God, you really did fall. I think I need to go to the emergency room, I say, the lie tasting like strategy. I am dizzy. I think I hit my head when I tripped. This is the right move. An ER visit creates a paper trail, something Lydia cannot control. The girl fumbles for her headset. I will get Mrs. Mercer. Please do not, I say. Just tell her I am sorry, I had to leave. I do not wait. I go to the coat check. I'm shrugging on my coat when Lydia appears. My father in tow, his face a thundercloud. Vanessa, darling, you cannot just leave, Lydia says, her voice a high-strung wire. She grabs my arm, her nails digging in. People are asking where you are. I am going to the hospital. Lydia, I say, my voice a whisper. I am dizzy. I hit my head. Lydia's grip tightens. She sees the coordinator watching. Do not be dramatic, she hisses, her smile frozen. You will not ruin this. My father steps forward. He really looks, at my face for the first time. I see his calculation. He sees the swelling, the blood. His expression is not concern, it is profound, bottomless annoyance. You embarrassed your mother, he says, his voice low and final. Whatever this little tantrum is, stop it, go home, put some ice on it, and be quiet. We have guests. He does not ask what happened. He does not ask if I am okay. He just sees a line item that is not balancing. He sees a problem with his image. Okay, Dad, I whisper. I turn and walk out the grand glass doors, past the valets, past the flashbulbs. I do not get in the line of black cars. I walk to the street and hail a yellow cab. I am pulling the door shut when it is yanked open again. Noah scrambles in, his face pale, his chest heaving. Drive, I tell the cabbie. Just drive. We ride in silence for 2 blocks, the noise of the party fading. My cheek throbs in time with the cab's bad suspension. Are you okay? Noah whispers from the back seat. I am, I say. You? She really hit you. I know. I take out my personal phone. The video. Send it to me. Now. Here? Here. Before you get home. Before she can ask for your phone. The cab stops at a red light. I see the airdrop notification. Noah's iPhone would like to share a video. I hit accept. The blue progress bar creeps across my screen. It is the most beautiful thing I have ever seen. The file is 2 minutes and 14 seconds long. The transfer dings. It is complete. Okay, I say, my voice cold and steady. Here is what you do. When you get home, upload that file to a new cloud account, something she does not know about. Name the file Robotics Project Final or History Homework, something boring. Then, delete it from your phone. Delete it from your recently deleted folder. Delete it from the cloud it automatically backed up to. Make it vanish. Can you do that? Yes, he says, his voice surprisingly firm. This is not your fight, Noah. I am taking it from here. Do not tell your mom. Do not tell anyone. Just be a kid. I drop him at his hotel. Press $100 bill into his hand for his own cab back to his house. For the robotics project, I say. The second I am alone, I tell the driver my real destination. Harborview, New Jersey, the 2-hour drive home. I open the file. It is shaky, lit by the harsh fluorescent lights of the staging room, but the audio is perfect. Petty, useless girl. Always been a drain on this family. A black hole of misery. Get her out of here if she will not listen. Then, the sharp, percussive crack. The sound of her hand connecting. My head snaps. It is violent. It is ugly. Then, the crash of glass as she shoves me. And then, the gold. The part that seals her fate. Her voice, instantly changing. High and panicked. Performing for the doorway. Oh my God. Vanessa, darling, you tripped. You tripped and fell. The lie. Recorded forever. The proof of intent. I close the video. I open my secure messaging app, the one I use for Harbor Light. I attach the file. I send it to Amelia Rhodes. My message is one line. Respect clause is officially triggered. It is 11:30 p.m. The cab is on the New Jersey Turnpike. My other phone buzzes. The encrypted one. I answer. Amelia. I have watched it 3 times, Amelia says. Her voice is sharp, awake, energized. It is not a smoking gun, Vanessa. It is a nuclear bomb. The audio is catastrophic for her. Useless. Drain on this family. Get her out of here. That is the systematic disrespect and exclusion. The slap is the public humiliation. And her lie. You tripped. Proves willful intent. She knew she was in the wrong and covered it up. It is perfect. Graham? He told me I was embarrassing her and to be quiet. He saw my face. He did nothing. Acquiescence, Amelia hums. He is a controller, and he acquiesced to the humiliation. We have them. The trap is sprung. The checklist is live. I am in my apartment now. It is 1 a.m. I am in my office. The Manhattan skyline glittering across the river. I have a bag of frozen peas pressed to my cheek. What is first? I ask. 8 a.m., Amelia says. I file the formal notice of invocation with the trustees of your grandfather's fund. That is the legal trigger. Simultaneously, I am sending the letter to the Mercer Outfitters Board. The emergency meeting. The emergency general meeting, she corrects. Your 28% stake gives you the right to request one. Your grandfather's trust, once triggered, compels one. The bylaws state they must convene within 72 hours of notice. I am booking the main conference room at Mercer HQ for 48 hours from now. They do not know it yet, but it is at my request. Good. That is the public plan. What about the private one? The money, she says. It is time. Vanessa, you have to turn off the tap, all of it. It is already done, I say. I did it from the cab. I have a private wealth manager at the bank that services Harbor Light. His name is Philip. He is paid to be available 24 hours a day. Philip, I said into the phone, my voice low. It is Vanessa Hansen. I am executing Protocol Zeta. Protocol Zeta was the name we gave it, the cutoff plan. Understood. Ms. Hansen, he said, standing by. I gave him the list. Stop transfer. Number 1. Payee. Mercer household account. Amount, $30,000. Monthly. Stop it. Effective immediately. Done. Stop transfer. Number 2. Payee. Lake House Properties. LLC. Quarterly tax payment. $12,000. Stop it. Done. American Express account. Card ending in 0054. That is Lydia's personal card, which I am underwriting. Freeze all payments. Done. Lakewood Country Club. Monthly dues. Stop it. Done. NetJets lease. Graham Mercer. Stop it. Done. In less than 3 minutes, I had pulled over $100,000 in monthly and quarterly support. I had just taken my hand off the switch. The entire, glittering, fake Mercer lifestyle just went dark. One last thing. Philip, I need a full, audited report of every transfer from my accounts to any account or payee associated with Graham or Lydia Mercer for the last 10 years. I need it itemized, and I need it sent to my lawyer, Amelia Rhodes, by 8 a.m. It will be on her desk when she wakes up, he said. I hang up. Now, in my office, I tell Amelia this. She is quiet for a moment. The $8 million, $300,000 receipt, she says. This is not a family fight, Vanessa. This is a hostile takeover, and you are the one who has been funding the target. I hang up with her. The apartment is silent. I sit at my desk and open my Harbor Light dashboard. The names stare back at me. Summit Ridge Holdings, Silverline Partners, Northwind Trust, total shares of Mercer Outfitters, 28%. The fortress is built. The army is ready. I open a new email. The recipients, the other major shareholders, the hedge funds, the pension plans, the old money families who, like me, had been watching my father's ego run this company into the ground. Subject: urgent notice regarding corporate governance at Mercer Outfitters, MCR. Dear Mr. Holloway, Ms. Davies, my name is Vanessa Hansen. I am the president of Harbor Light Equity Partners. My funds, held through various legal entities, Summit Ridge, Silverline, Northwind, represent a 28% stake in Mercer Outfitters, making us the second-largest shareholder block. I am not just a shareholder, I am also Graham Mercer's daughter. Due to a series of alarming events tonight and significant new findings related to corporate governance, financial mismanagement, and gross failures of fiduciary duty, I have, this evening, exercised my right to call an emergency meeting of the shareholders, to be held within 72 hours. I am writing to you personally to ensure you are present. We have much to discuss. Sincerely, Vanessa Hansen, President, Harbor Light Equity Partners. I attach the formal EGM notice. I hit send. My personal phone, the one I have had since college, starts to ring. It flashes. Dad. It stops. It rings again. Lydia. It stops. A text from my father. Vanessa, call me this instant. This is not acceptable. A text from Lydia. You ungrateful little monster. You will not ruin my night. I look at the phone vibrating on the dark mahogany desk. I pick it up. I press the power button. I hold it down. I watch the screen go black. I open my desk drawer, drop the phone inside, and lock it. My secure phone buzzes. A text. It is Noah. She is here. My mom let her in. Lydia is demanding my phone. She says it was an accident, and I have to delete the video. She's yelling at my mom. What do I do? What do I do? My fingers are steady. He is a 14-year-old kid in the line of fire. I type back. Do not fight her. Do not be brave. Be a scared kid. Tell her your phone froze and you had to restart it. Tell her the file must have been corrupted. Tell her you have nothing. Lie. And stay silent. I will handle it. Do not engage. A minute passes. Okay, I can do that. Be safe. I put the secure phone down. I turn off the lights in my office. I sit in my chair, in the dark, watching the lights of Manhattan. The clock on my wall says 2 a.m. The 48-hour countdown has begun. I picture Lydia, waking up tomorrow, flush with the success of her party. She will go to that boutique on the high street, the one that sells the French handbags, to buy herself a present. She will hand them the Amex, the one I pay for. And the sales associate will look at her with that polite, pained smile. I am so sorry, Mrs. Mercer. It has been declined. I close my eyes. My cheek is a single, dull, pounding ache, but the pipeline is shut. The ATM is closed. That night, for the first time in 10 years, the money flowed in a different direction. Back to me. I do not sleep. I do not even go to my apartment. I shower in the private bathroom in my office at Harbor Light, and I change into a fresh suit. The left side of my face is a magnificent, swollen map of purple and yellow. I do not cover it with makeup. I wear it. I wear it like a medal. At 8 a.m., my desk phone, the one reserved for Harbor Light business, begins to ring, and ring, and ring. I let it. The calls are from my father's office, from Lydia's cell, from the Lakewood Country Club, from my father's CFO. A man who has not spoken to me in 5 years. I let every single call go to my corporate voicemail. The blinking red light on my phone is a beacon of their rising panic. By 10 a.m., there are 47 missed calls. I listen to the voicemails. one by one, on speakerphone, while Amelia sits across from me, sipping black coffee and taking notes. The first ones are from Lydia. The tone is, "Concerned mother." Vanessa, "Darling, you left your phone off. I am so worried. You must have been so disoriented from your fall. Please call me. Your father is frantic." An hour later, the tone changes. Annoyed matriarch. "Vanessa, this is not funny. Your father's assistant just told me our accounts are... There is a technical problem. The club payment was declined. You need to call the bank and fix this. Whatever game you are playing, it stops now." An hour after that, pure, unfiltered rage. "You little monster. You did this. You think this is power? You think you can cut me off? I am your mother. You are nothing. You are a spreadsheet. You will turn that money back on, and you will apologize to me, or you will regret the day you ever betrayed this family. You will be ruined. I will ruin you." Amelia raises an eyebrow. "Save, send me that file." Then my father, not a voicemail, an email. It is a masterpiece of corporate gaslighting. Subject: Urgent. Financial misunderstanding. Vanessa. It has come to my attention that a significant technical error has occurred within our family's banking system, originating from your accounts. I have been informed that automatic payments for the household and club, which you have managed for years, were abruptly and improperly halted. This has caused significant embarrassment. I assume this is a catastrophic error on your part, perhaps related to your emotional state after your unfortunate accident last night. You are to contact the bank immediately, restore all transfers, and send a written confirmation to my office when this has been rectified. We can discuss your behavior at a later date. Family first. G. He is threatening you, Amelia says, reading it on my monitor. He is managing me, I correct. He thinks I am a junior employee who made a filing error. He thinks he can fix this with a memo. The final email, the one that tells the real story, is not from them. It is from the family accountant, a nervous man named Stephen. His email is sent to me, my father, and Lydia. It is pure panic. Subject: FWD. Insufficient funds. Lakewood payroll. Mr. Mercer, Mrs. Mercer, Vanessa. I am writing to inform you that the Mercer household account, ending in 4512, has insufficient funds to cover the weekly payroll for the Lake House staff and Mr. Mercer's driver. The account balance is currently $3,100. This is a critical oversight. I have no record of the usual quarterly wire from Vanessa. Please advise immediately, or I will be forced to inform the staff that their checks will not clear. Stephen. That is the one. That is the one that breaks the dam. They do not care about the slap. They do not care about the humiliation. They care about the checks. They care that the driver and the housekeeper are about to find out that the great Graham Mercer is broke. They will be here, I say to Amelia. I know, she says. By 5 p.m. They beat her estimate. At 4:15, my assistant buzzes my intercom. Vanessa, this is strange. Graham and Lydia Mercer are in the lobby. They are demanding to see you. The head of security is with them. They do not have an appointment. I swivel my chair and turn on the monitor that shows the feed from the main lobby security cameras. It is a silent movie, and it is a comedy. Lydia is performing. She is weeping, dabbing at her eyes with a handkerchief, clinging to my father's arm. She is gesturing wildly at the security desk, then at the elevator bank. I can read her lips. My daughter. She is unwell. She is having a breakdown. I am her mother. My father is standing stiffly, a vein bulging in his neck, radiating pure, impotent rage. He is a king, and a security guard in a cheap blazer is telling him he cannot go upstairs. Tell security I am on my way down, I say to my assistant, and tell them that my legal counsel will be with me, and that they are not, under any circumstances, to come up. I look at Amelia. Showtime? Put on your coat, she says. We are not staying. We are leaving. We are walking through them. It is a power move. We ride the express elevator down 41 floors. We step out into the massive, marble and glass lobby of the Harbor Light building. It is 4:30 p.m., and the lobby is busy, and there they are. The second Lydia sees me, her tears vanish, replaced by a red-hot fury. She breaks away from my father and stalks toward me. "Vanessa! Thank God! Turn your phone on. What on earth do you think you are?" She stops. She sees my face, the purple, swollen, magnificent bruise. She sees Amelia, standing next to me, holding a briefcase. She sees the head of security and two of his men, standing 10 feet away, watching. She sees the other bankers and executives in the lobby, all politely pretending not to stare at the CEO of Mercer Outfitters and his weeping wife, accosting one of the building's main tenants. Her performance reboots. The tears are back, instantly. "Oh, my baby!" she cries, lunging for me, her arms open for a hug. "Oh, my poor girl. What happened to your face? That fall was so much worse than I thought." I do not move. I just stand there, and I let her try to hug me. She collides with my rigid, unmoving body. It is like a wave hitting a rock. She pulls back, her face confused. "Stop it, Lydia," I say. My voice is quiet. The lobby is loud, but it is the kind of quiet that cuts. Her eyes narrow. The performance stutters. We were so worried," she tries again. "You were worried," I say, "that the payroll would not clear." My father steps forward. He is in CEO mode. "Vanessa, this is not the place. We need to go home. We need to talk. Privately." He gestures, an imperial command, toward the glass doors. "No," I say. "What?" "No," I say again. "We are not talking, not privately." I gesture up at the black, mirrored dome of the security camera above our heads. "What do you need to say to me, Dad? That you do not want a camera to hear? What part of this conversation needs to be hidden?" He turns purple. He is a man who lives on private conversations. "You are a child," he sputters. "I am your largest unsecured creditor," I say, "and your second largest shareholder." "Who?" Lydia spits, her patience gone. "Is this?" She jabs a finger at Amelia. Amelia steps forward 1 pace. She is small, sharp, and dressed in a suit that cost more than Lydia's car. "My name is Amelia Rhodes," she says, her voice as crisp as a new $100 bill. "I am Ms. Hanson's legal counsel, and from this moment, all future communications, questions, or requests for your clients, Mr. and Mrs. Mercer, will be directed, in writing, to my office." Lydia stares. Graham stares. "Legal counsel?" Graham repeats, as if the words are in a foreign language. "For what? A family discussion?" "For the emergency general meeting of Mercer Outfitters," Amelia says. "I trust you received the notice I filed at 8 a.m., and for the invocation of the respect clause of the Mercer Hanson Trust, dated 1995. Graham's face goes from purple to white. It is a color I have never seen on him. He knows that trust. He knows that name. Lydia, however, does not. "I do not know what this is," she screams. The tears are gone. This is the real Lydia, the one from the staging room. "You cannot do this. You are our daughter. We gave you everything." "No, Lydia," I say. "I gave you everything, and as of last night, the account is closed." I start to walk past her, toward the doors. Amelia is right at my shoulder. Lydia is unraveling. The lobby, the cameras, the security. She does not care. She is losing control. She grabs my arm, the same arm she grabbed at the party. "You think that stupid video is going to beat me?" She snarls, her face inches from mine. "You think that little brat and his phone are going to ruin me?" I stop. I look at her. I look at the security camera directly above her. I look back at her. "Yes," I say. I gently, deliberately, remove her hand from my arm. "Do not," I say. touch me, ever again. I walk out of the building into the cold afternoon air, with Amelia at my side. We get into the waiting town car. As we pull away, I see them, framed in the glass lobby, two small, furious figures, defeated and confused, stranded on an island of marble. My secure phone buzzes. It is a long text from Noah. I did what you said. I told her the phone glitched. She did not believe me. She took my phone. She is having someone professionally wipe it. She made me swear on my mother's life that I would not turn against the family. She said I was a traitor. She is a monster. She does not know I used my old laptop. I am sorry I did not give you this last night. I was scared. She was saying all this stuff at the lake house this summer, about her charity, about how she was just borrowing money from it to cover her Amex, and how she would fix the books later. I recorded it. I did not know what it was. I think you need it. Here is the link. It is the audio file. I already deleted it from the computer. It is only on this cloud. Please, do not let her win. Please protect my mom. I click the link. A new file. History Project Audio, MP3. I press play. I hear the clink of ice in a glass. I hear the pool filter, and I hear Lydia's voice, clear as day, laughing. Oh, Marge, it is just moving money from one pocket to another. The foundation, my account. It is all Mercer. Graham will never even see it. I will just move $50,000 from the gala fund to my personal and put it back after the Q4 dividends. It is just creative accounting. It is how the world works, darling. I look at Amelia. I turn the speaker on. She listens. Her eyes close. She smiles. It is over, she says. That is not disrespect. That is wire fraud. I close my eyes. Noah, the 14-year-old kid, he chose the truth. Amelia, I say, draft a notice to Lydia, to Graham, and to Noah's mother. As of this moment, Noah is a protected minor witness in a corporate malfeasance case. Any and all contact with him regarding this matter, by anyone, especially Lydia Mercer, is to go through us, or we will file for a restraining order. The kid in the toxic family, the one who sees everything, I just need him to know that, for the first time in his life, one of the adults is not going to turn away. The main boardroom at Mercer Outfitters headquarters is a 30-foot-long slab of polished mahogany. It is a room designed to intimidate. It is on the top floor, the one my father calls the summit, and today it is packed. Amelia and I had spent the last 36 hours ensuring it. We invited the press. We sent a formal notice to the Lakewood Business Journal and 2 national retail correspondents, citing a major announcement regarding corporate governance and transparency. They are here, huddled in the back, laptops open, their faces hungry. The meeting is also being live-streamed to every corporate employee. Everyone is watching. My father, Graham Mercer, stands at the head of the table. He looks like he has not slept in 48 hours. His suit is impeccable, but his eyes are bloodshot. Lydia is beside him, a statue of pure, vibrating rage, dressed in a severe gray suit, trying to look like the CFO she was meant to become. I am at the opposite end of the table. Amelia is beside me, our files stacked neatly. The rest of the board and the major shareholders fill the seats between us. A long line of confused, annoyed, and curious faces. My face is my primary exhibit. The swelling has gone down, but the bruise is now a catastrophic Technicolor map of purple, blue, and sickly yellow, running from my cheekbone to my jaw. I have not hidden it. I have worn it like a declaration. Graham grips the lectern, his knuckles white. He tries for his booming CEO voice, but it comes out strained. Thank you all for coming on such short notice, he begins, his eyes fixed on a point on the far wall, refusing to look at me. I know there are rumors circulating. I want to be clear. This is a family misunderstanding, a private matter that has been, quite unfortunately, blown entirely out of proportion. He is trying to frame it, to paint me as the hysterical, emotional daughter. This is a regrettable situation, he continues, instigated by a disgruntled shareholder, a member of my own family, who seems intent on causing chaos for reasons I can only attribute to personal issues. He risks a glance at me. This is a sad attempt to disrupt the stability I have built over 30 years. He nods, as if concluding a simple matter. Vanessa, since you called this meeting, perhaps you have something you wish to say. All eyes turn to me. I see the judgment, the annoyance. They see Vanessa Hansen, the girl who causes trouble. They see the bruised face and assume family drama. I stand. My chair makes no sound on the thick carpet. I do not go to the lectern. I stand at my place, my hands resting on my files. Thank you, Graham, I say. My voice is calm, perfectly amplified by the boardroom's expensive microphones. And thank you, members of the board and fellow shareholders. Good morning. I nod to Amelia. She presses the first button on her laptop, the massive screen at the end of the room, the one usually reserved for my father's triumphant sales projections, flickers to life. My father is correct that this meeting was called by a disgruntled shareholder, I say, but I think there is some confusion about who, exactly, I am. The screen shows a logo, simple, elegant, and unknown to most in this room. Harborlight Equity Partners. My name is Vanessa Hansen, I say, and for the last 5 years, I have been the president and co-founder of Harborlight Equity Partners, a private equity firm managing assets in excess of $3.5 billion. The room changes. The reporters in the back, who know that name, sit bolt upright. The sound of typing becomes a frantic clatter. My father looks confused. Lydia scoffs, a small, ugly sound. What is this, Vanessa? A school project? Amelia, the next slide, please. A new image appears. It is a complex, spider-webbed organizational chart. For those 5 years, I continue, my voice level, Harborlight, through several legally distinct and discrete holding companies, you may have heard of them, Summit Ridge Holdings, Silverline Partners, Northwind Trust, has been quietly acquiring a significant stake in Mercer Outfitters. Amelia clicks again, the final slide in this set, a simple, brutal pie chart. It shows the ownership structure. Graham and Lydia Mercer, 31%. Vanessa Hansen, via Holdings, 28%. Institutional and other investors, 41%. The room inhales. It is a single, unified gasp. Graham lurches to his feet. What? That is not possible. This is illegal. Amelia speaks for the first time, her voice like ice water. It is perfectly legal, Mr. Mercer, and meticulously documented. It makes Ms. Hansen the second largest voting shareholder in this company. She has the floor. Please, sit down. Graham sits. He does not so much sit as collapse, his face ashen. I look at the board. So, no, this is not a family misunderstanding. This is a corporate governance action, brought by your largest, and until now, silent partner. I gesture to the screen. Now, let's talk about the family part. Amelia brings up the next slide. It is a simple ledger, a line graph. One line goes up, one line goes down. For the past 10 years, I have been, as my father so often put it, the spreadsheet girl, the worker bee, while also, apparently, being the family's primary financial support. The graph shows the data. This is not company dividends, I say, as the numbers fill the screen. This is not investment income. This is a summary of direct personal wire transfers from my salary and bonuses at Harborlight to the Mercer household account and, by extension, the Mercer Hearts Foundation. The final number appears at the bottom. The total, over 10 years, comes to $8,300,000. The silence in the room is absolute, broken only by the sound of Lydia shoving her chair back. "This is outrageous!" she screams, jumping to her feet. "That is a lie. That was family money. Those were gifts. She was supporting her family as a daughter should. You ungrateful, vicious." A gift, Lydia? I ask, my voice cutting through her rage. Amelia, Amelia clicks. A new slide, a scanned email, blown up for all to read. From Lydia Mercer to Vanessa Hansen. Subject, urgent, club dues. I read it aloud. Vanessa, I am not joking. Your father's quarterly payment for the club is due Friday. If we default, he will lose his spot on the board. He will be humiliated. I need you to transfer $250,000 before Friday, or your father will lose face. I lower the paper. Does that sound like a gift to you, Lydia? Or does it sound like an invoice? Or maybe, given the threat, extortion? Lydia is white. She sits down, hard. But this is not about the money I gave, I say, my voice hardening. This is about the respect I received in return. 2 nights ago, Lydia held a party at the Aurora Grand. Many of you were there. I turn to the screen. Amelia, play the video. The screen flashes. The boardroom is filled with the sound of a shaky, too loud recording, the fluorescent lights of the staging room, and Lydia's voice. Petty, useless girl. Always been a drain on this family. A black hole of misery. Get her out of here if she will not listen. And then, the sound. The crack. It is so loud. So violent. In the high-fidelity speakers of the boardroom, that several shareholders physically flinch. One of the reporters gasps. We watch my head snap to the side. We watch me fall. And then, the gold. We watch Lydia's face, her instant transformation. Oh my God. Vanessa, darling, you tripped. You tripped and fell. The video ends. The screen goes black. The silence in the room is a physical weight. No one is typing. No one is breathing. I just stand there, my hand lightly touching the bruised cheek that everyone just saw receive the blow. Graham has his head in his hands. Lydia is staring at the blank screen, her mouth opening and closing. Amelia stands. Ladies and gentlemen, she says, her voice sharp and clear. What you just witnessed was not a family misunderstanding, it was an assault, and in this specific corporate context, it was a direct breach of contract. A new slide appears. Legal text. When Graham Mercer first sought funding to expand Mercer Outfitters beyond his first store, he received his seed capital from one man, Vanessa's maternal grandfather, Elias Hansen. That investment was codified in the Mercer-Hansen Trust. Amelia points to the screen. And in that trust is a very specific, binding, and non-negotiable clause, Section 4, the Respect Clause. She reads it. It stipulates that if the sole named beneficiary, Vanessa Hansen, is subjected to systematic disrespect, public humiliation, or willful exclusion by the acting controllers, Graham and Lydia Mercer, that beneficiary has a right. She clicks. On the right, you will see the page from 1995, where Graham Mercer signed his acceptance of this clause in order to receive that initial company saving capital. My father's signature, bold and arrogant, fills the screen. Lydia Mercer's actions at the Aurora Grand, Amelia concludes, and Graham Mercer's active, silent complicity in those actions constitute a gross and irrefutable violation of this binding clause. Mr. Holloway, an independent director with a face like old leather, clears his throat. Counselor, he says, his voice rough, what does this mean, in practical terms, for us? All eyes are back on me. I step forward. It means, Mr. Holloway, I say, that the clause is now triggered, and it gives me, as the sole beneficiary of the trust, the right to demand that the offending controllers, Graham and Lydia Mercer, sell their entire voting stake back to the trust. The room buzzes. She's buying him out, someone whispers. But, I continue, and the room goes silent again. Not at the current market price. The clause is specific. I have the right to purchase their 31% stake at book value, as calculated in 1995. The room explodes. Book value? That's pennies on the dollar. It's financial annihilation. My God. Graham looks up, his face ashen. He finally understands. But, I say, and my voice cuts through the noise. It gets worse. The shareholders quiet down. The press lean in. The respect clause is about family, but I am also here as an investor. And as an investor, I am deeply concerned about the financial health of this company, specifically, the appointment of its new, unvetted CFO, Lydia Mercer. I look at Lydia. Her eyes are dead. Amelia. Amelia clicks again. No video this time, just audio, Noah's file. We hear the poolside sounds, the clink of ice in a glass, and then Lydia's voice, laughing, conspiratorial. Oh, Marge, it is just moving money from one pocket to another. The foundation, my account, it is all Mercer. Graham will never even see it. I will just move $50,000 from the gala fund to my personal and put it back after the Q4 dividends. It is just creative accounting. It is how the world works, darling. The audio file ends. The reporters are not typing. They are pounding. They are no longer journalists. They are vultures who have just found a feast. A hand shoots up in the back. Is that an admission of wire fraud? I am not looking at the press. I am looking at the actual CFO, the one Lydia was supposed to replace. Mr. Davies. He is a quiet man, a numbers man, who I know has been clashing with my father for years. He is looking at a set of printouts Amelia had placed in front of him before the meeting began. My files from the Mercer Hearts Foundation. He looks up at me, his face pale. He nods. Just once. He knows. The numbers I found, Lydia's borrowing, they are the exact numbers he has been trying to find in his own audits for the last 2 years. He knows I just handed him the source of the leak. I raise my hand. The room, slowly, goes quiet. I look at my father, his head in his hands. I look at Lydia, who looks, for the first time in her life, truly, utterly, afraid. This is not, I say, my voice filling the room, a family squabble. It is a rescue mission. I am not here to get revenge. I am here to save my grandfather's company from the people who have treated it, and me, like a limitless credit card. The audio file ends, and the boardroom is a tomb. The only sound is the frantic, panicked typing of the 3 reporters in the back. They know. They have the story of their careers. The chaos erupts. Mr. Holloway is on his feet, his face red, shouting into his phone at his own legal counsel. Ms. Davies, the pension fund manager, is in a rapid, furious huddle with the other institutional investors. They are not just angry, they are terrified. They have been lied to. Their money is in the hands of a fool and a criminal. Graham finally finds his voice. He shoves himself up from the table, his chair scraping violently. "It is a lie," he bellows, his voice cracking. "All of it. This is slander. That video, it is doctored. It is edited. She has been planning this." He is grasping, but he is drowning. Amelia stands. She does not raise her voice. She does not have to. "Mr. Mercer," she says, her voice cutting through his. "We anticipated that defense." The screen, which had been black, flashes to life. A new document. This is a notarized affidavit from Kroll Digital Forensics, a firm I am sure your own counsel respects, Amelia says. They received the video file from an anonymous source. Noah's name was never mentioned. At 10:51 p.m. on the night of the assault, they have confirmed, under penalty of perjury, that the file shows no signs of digital manipulation, splicing, or editing. The metadata is intact. It is a single, uninterrupted recording. She clicks. And this is the sworn testimony from the head of security at the Aurora Grand, confirming that his own internal cameras, which we subpoenaed, captured Mrs. Mercer in the hallway, in a state of agitation, at the exact timestamp of the video. Graham's defense, built on hot air and bluster, deflates. He visibly sags, collapsing back into his chair. Now, It is Lydia's turn. The rage is gone. The fear has been replaced by her final, most desperate performance, the martyr. She stands, but slowly, as if she is in physical pain. She grips the table. Her eyes, miraculously, are full of tears. She aims them, not at me, but at Mr. Holloway. "Henry," she whispers, her voice breaking beautifully. "Henry, you have known Graham for 20 years. You all know the pressure I am under, to be the perfect wife, the perfect hostess, to represent this company." She takes a shaky breath. It was a mistake. A single moment. I was stressed. I was exhausted. I had been drinking. It was a family spat. I was not myself. I have apologized. "Vanessa," she says, turning to me, her eyes leaking tears. "I am so sorry for my slip." She turns back to the board. It was one minute of anger. Are you really going to let her destroy this family? Destroy this company? All for one little slap? It is a masterful performance. She is begging for the boys' club to close ranks, to dismiss me as a hysterical woman, but the sound of her laughing about creative accounting is still hanging in the air. Amelia Rhodes does not deal in emotion. She deals in contracts. That is not a question for the board to answer. "Mrs. Mercer," Amelia says, stepping forward. "That question was answered in 1995 by Elias Hansen. Your slip triggered a binding, non-negotiable, contractual process." She puts her hands behind her back. "My client, Ms. Hansen, in coordination with the Hansen Trust, is now the controlling party of this process, and we are, in the interest of a swift and clean transition for the company's shareholders, prepared to offer 2 paths forward, and only 2. The room is dead silent. "These are not negotiable. They are not a starting point for discussion. You will choose one. You have 10 minutes. Amelia nods to her assistant, who presses a key. The screen lights up. "Option 1, Amelia says. The clause. The text is simple. Full invocation of Section 4. You, Graham Mercer and Lydia Mercer, will adhere to the exact letter of the respect clause. You will immediately sell your entire combined 31% voting stake back to the Hansen Trust. As stipulated, the price will be the 1995 book value." She pauses, letting that sink in. "Per our auditors, that is a one-time, final payment to you of approximately $17 million. A few of the board members who know the company's real valuation, closer to $3 billion, actually gasp. To be clear, Amelia says, the current market value of your stake is just under $900 million. This option represents a total financial wipeout. You will lose your titles, your board seats, and nearly $1 billion in personal wealth. You will walk away with $17 million, and you will be out. That is option 1. The color is gone from Graham's face. He looks ill. Option 2, Amelia continues. The settlement. A new slide. This is a one-time offer from Ms. Hansen to avoid the protracted legal battles of option 1. We offer this to protect the company, not you. First, she says, you, Graham Mercer and Lydia Mercer, resign, effective immediately, from your positions as CEO, acting CFO, and all seats on the board of directors. You will have no further role, fiduciary, operational, or advisory, in Mercer Outfitters, ever. Second, she says, in exchange for these immediate resignations, Ms. Hansen and the trust will agree to not invoke the book value purchase clause. The room holds its breath. You will be allowed to retain a portion of your stock, 10%, as a silent, non-voting, minority shareholder. The remaining 21% of your stake will be immediately placed into a blind trust, managed by an independent executor of our choosing. That executor will liquidate your remaining shares in an orderly fashion over the next 36 months. You will keep the proceeds of that sale. You will lose your company, but you will avoid total financial ruin. You will walk away with several $100 million instead of 17. I stand up. There are 2 conditions, I say, that I am attaching to option 2. All eyes turn to me. First, Lydia Mercer will be permanently and legally banned from any association with the Mercer Hearts Foundation. She will not attend a gala. She will not sit on an honorary committee. She will not use the Mercer name in any charitable capacity ever again. Her name is to be removed from all materials. Second, I say, my voice like steel, you will both agree to a full, independent, forensic audit of both Mercer Outfitters and the Mercer Hearts Foundation, conducted by a firm of my choosing, at the company's expense, and you will agree, in writing, that if that audit uncovers the financial irregularities we heard on that audio file, the full, unredacted results will be turned over to the Securities and Exchange Commission and the District Attorney's Office. You will not fight it, and you will not interfere. Graham puts his head in his hands. I have just offered him a choice, bankruptcy or prison, and then the twist, the one I had been counting on. Mr. Holloway. Henry, my father's oldest friend, his golf partner. He stands up, and he looks old and sad. Graham, he says, his voice rough. My father looks up, a pathetic flicker of hope in his eyes. He thinks his friend is about to save him. Graham, I have to tell the board. I cannot sit here. He turns to the other investors. I warned him. I have to say it. I warned Graham about this 6 months ago. I told him Lydia's creative accounting, her use of the company jet, her expenses at the charity. I told him it was a massive liability. I told him it looked like fraud. My father's face freezes. He told me it was family business, Holloway says, his voice full of disgust. He told me to mind my own. He turns, not to my father, but to me. Ms. Hanson, your presentation it is horrifying. But it is, I am afraid, the God's honest truth. I, for one, will not vote to protect this family business any longer. A second hand goes up. Ms. Davies, the pension fund manager. I will second that, she says, her voice sharp. Frankly, Mr. Mercer, your proposed succession plan was a disgrace. Your CFO appointment was naked nepotism, and this is a circus. My fund was preparing to sell our entire position. We were ready to dump the stock and take the loss. Ms. Hanson, she says, and she nods at me. Your actions today are the only thing that has given me hope for this company in 5 years. This is it, my move. I stand. That, I say, my voice ringing with a new authority, is my final point. To the board, to the shareholders, if you support this transition, my first act as controlling shareholder will not be to install myself as CEO. The room settles. My first act will be to form an independent search committee to hire a professional, external, qualified CEO to run this company. My second act will be to work with the board to propose a new employee stock ownership program so that the people who actually work for this company can finally share in its success. I have just saved their investment. I have just given them a future. I have just won. All eyes are on my father. He is trapped. Lydia is hissing in his ear, a frantic, desperate whisper. Fight them! Fight them! Graham, do not! We can sue! We can sue her for... His own lawyer, a new man I do not recognize, leans across and whispers something in her ear. I know what he is saying. He is saying, if you go to court, they will play that audio. You will not just lose the company. You will be facing a criminal indictment. Take the deal. Take the money and run. Lydia's face, the mask of hate, crumples. She sees it. The end. Graham Mercer, the Titan, the king, the man who built an empire, is sweating through his $1,000 suit. His hands are shaking. He looks at the screen. Option 1, annihilation. He looks at the screen. Option 2, humiliation. He looks at me, his daughter, the worker bee, the spreadsheet girl. He cannot meet my eyes. He stares at the polished mahogany, a single, choked word. 2, he coughs. Option 2, we take option 2. Amelia nods, as if she is merely confirming a lunch order. She slides a thick stack of documents down the long, polished table. These, she says, are your resignation papers, pre-drafted. You will sign them, now, before this meeting is adjourned. Holloway stands. A motion has been made, he says, to accept the resignations of Graham and Lydia Mercer. Seconded, snaps Ms. Davies. All in favor? A chorus of aye fills the room. All opposed? Silence. The motion carries, Holloway says. The resignations are accepted. Graham, Lydia, you are no longer officers of this company. He looks at me. I would like to make a second motion. I nominate Vanessa Hansen as the new interim chairwoman of the board of directors, effective immediately, to oversee this transition and the search for a new CEO. Seconded. All in favor? Another chorus of aye. It is done. 48 hours. The reporters are scrambling out the door, breaking the news. The shareholders are crowding around me, shaking my hand. Their faces a mix of shock, awe, and profound relief. I stay seated, at the end of the table, at the other end. Graham is signing the papers, his hand shaking so badly his signature is a scrawl. Lydia signs hers. She does not just sign it. She stabs the pen through the paper. She throws it down. She looks at me. Down the 30 feet of mahogany that separates us. The room is emptying. The lawyers are packing their bags. Lydia shoves her chair back. Her face is no longer performing. It is pure, unadulterated, reptilian hate. She lurches forward, trying to get to me, shoving past her own lawyer. You, she screams. Her voice echoes in the massive, half-empty room. You. 2 security guards, hired by Amelia, step forward, blocking her path. You did this, she shrieks, tears of rage carving trails on her face. You killed this family. I stand up, slowly. I look at this broken, hateful woman, and for the first time, I feel nothing. Not anger, not pain, just quiet. You are wrong, Lydia, I say. My voice is quiet, but it carries, echoing in the tomb of my father's career. This family did that to itself a long time ago. I pick up my briefcase. I just stopped paying for it. I drove back to Crescent Falls 3 days after the meeting. I did not go to the headquarters. I did not go to the empty office that used to be my father's. I went to the lake house. The house I had paid the taxes on for 10 straight years. I was not there to pack. I was not there to reminisce. I was there, as the new chairwoman of the board and the executor of the Hansen Trust, to oversee the asset inventory. I was there to watch the auditors work. The house was a tomb. It was hollow, the silence echoing off the bare hardwood floors. The oversized, vulgar furniture was still there, but it was all tagged. A man and a woman, auditors from a firm I had hired out of Chicago, were walking through the rooms with clipboards. Little green stickers were placed on personal effects. Little red stickers were placed on assets acquired fraudulently via Mercer Hearts Foundation. The great room looked like it had measles. Lydia was there. She was legally required to be. She was not the queen of the gala. She was standing in the middle of the cavernous living room, wearing a $2,000 cashmere sweatsuit, her hair unwashed. She was just staring. She was watching 2 men in uniforms carefully wrap a hideous, life-sized abstract painting of a horse. It had a red tag. She was vibrating with a silent, useless rage. My father was there, too. He was not in the main room. I found him in the kitchen, at the breakfast nook, staring out at the gray, choppy water. He was wearing a rumpled, oatmeal-colored cardigan, the kind of thing he used to mock, a uniform for the old and the weak. He looked, for the first time in my life, like a very old, very tired man. When I entered the kitchen, he did not turn. He just hunched his shoulders, avoiding my reflection in the glass. He knew, finally, that there was nothing left to negotiate. He had been stripped of his title, his company, and his audience. He was just a man in a sweater, in a house that was no longer his. The doorbell chimed, a sound that was too loud for the empty space. I went to the door. It was my Aunt Lara, Noah's mother. She looked like she had not slept. She was twisting the strap of her purse. Noah was standing behind her, half hidden, his eyes on the floor. "Vanessa," Aunt Lara said, her voice a strained whisper. I got the call. From your lawyer, Amelia." "Aunt Lara," I said, my voice softer than I intended. "She told me," Alara whispered, tears welling in her eyes. "She told me how you fought, how you made sure Noah's name was never in a single public document, how he is just an anonymous minor witness. You protected him, after everything our family did to you. You protected him. Thank you." She was crying, and I did not know how to respond. "He told the truth," I said. "That is all that mattered." "Traitor!" Lydia's voice was a shriek. She was standing at the end of the hall, her face mottled and red. She had heard us. "You!" she screamed, marching toward us, her finger jabbing at Noah. "You! This is your fault! You little, sneaking, spineless traitor! You betrayed your own blood! You betrayed your family!" Noah flinched, disappearing entirely behind his mother. Aunt Lara looked like she was about to faint. "That is enough, Lydia," I said. My voice was not loud. It was flat. It was final. She stopped. She turned her fury on me. "You," she snarled. "You brought him here to gloat." "He did not betray anyone," I said, walking toward her, closing the distance until she had to look at me. "He recorded the truth. You are the traitor. Lydia, you are the one who used the word family to justify your cruelty, your theft, your abuse. You used a 14-year-old boy's fear and his conscience as a weapon. He was the only person in this entire disaster who was brave enough to be honest. You are not allowed to speak to him." She looked at me, her mouth open, a string of curses ready, but no sound came out. She was not just looking at me. She was looking at the woman who had just taken her entire world apart. She turned, a low sob of pure rage in her throat, and stalked back to the empty great room. A man in a pinstripe suit, one of the lead auditors, approached me with a file. He discreetly cleared his throat. "Ms. Hanson," he said, his voice low, "and Mrs. Mercer, if I may." Lydia, who had her back to us, slowly turned. The auditor looked at his notes. He was speaking to me, but his words were aimed at her. "We have concluded our initial review of the Mercer Hearts Foundation financials. Cross-referenced with the private audio files provided by counsel, the evidence of creative accounting is not just clear, it is systematic." He paused, and for the first time, his professional gaze turned cold. He looked directly at Lydia. "The file we have compiled shows sufficient, undeniable evidence of wire fraud, tax evasion, and embezzlement. We are legally and ethically bound to turn this entire report over to the district attorney's office. It has moved beyond a corporate matter. Mrs. Mercer, this is now a state criminal investigation." Lydia did not move, but I watched the color drain from her face. It was the first time in her entire, pampered, protected life that she had ever faced a consequence she could not buy, bully, or lie her way out of. The boardroom was about money. This was about freedom. She put a hand on the wall to steady herself. She finally understood. I had seen enough. I turned and walked toward the door. "Ness, wait," my father's voice. I had not heard him move. He was standing on the wide back porch, the one overlooking the lake. The wind was cold. He had followed me out. "Vanessa, please." His voice was a wreck. It was not the voice of the CEO. It was a plea. He reached for my arm, then flinched, pulling his hand back as if he had been burned. We can stop this," right? He whispered, his eyes frantic. He gestured back at the house, at the auditors, at his shell-shocked wife. It is a circus. Ness, it is too much. You have won. You have the company. Can't you just stop it? I looked at him, the man who had built an empire, the man who had called me a spreadsheet. He was begging. What do you want, Dad? I asked. He said, his voice breaking. I just want it to be like it was. I just want it to go back, before, to how it was. I stared at him, after all of it, after the video, the fraud, the humiliation. He still did not understand. Go back? I said. Go back to what? Go back to me being your personal ATM? Go back to me being your worker bee who you pat on the head while you and Lydia steal from a charity? Go back to me being the sponsoring partner at your wife's party? It was just family, he mumbled, looking at the gray lake. We are family. No, I said. The word was not angry. It was just true. No, I am not going back. I am not going to be your wallet. I am not going to be your scapegoat. I did not break this family. Dad, you did. I looked at him, forcing him to meet my gaze. You broke it every time you cashed my checks and called me a disappointment. Lydia broke it every time she used my money to buy her status. You two did this. He just stared at me, his eyes dead. I did not destroy this family, I said, turning to walk away. I just stopped funding the cruelty that you two decided to call love. I walked away. I signed the last inventory sheet for the trust's executor. I spoke with Amelia's associate about the timeline for the new CEO search. I was not thinking about next year. I was not thinking about healing. I was thinking about Monday's operational budget. I was walking to my rental car, parked in the long, curved driveway. Vanessa, wait! Noah was running toward me, his mom walking quickly behind. He was out of breath. Are you going back to New Jersey now? He asked. Tonight, I said. He was shuffling his feet, the awkwardness of being 14 battling with the weight of the last week. Are we ever going to see you again? He asked, his voice small. Or are you just going to disappear? Lydia said you would disappear. I looked at this kid, this brave, quiet kid, who had seen everything and had chosen the truth, even when it cost him. I bent down slightly, to meet his eyes. I am not disappearing, Noah, I said. My door is always open. It is always open for people who tell the truth, and it is always open for people who do not use the word family as a weapon. You got it? He nodded, a small, relieved smile breaking through. His mom was crying. But this time, I think she was smiling too. I signed the last paper. It was done, before I got in my car. I turned one last time, to look at the house, my childhood home, the house I had paid for, over and over again, with $8,300,000. Lydia was a statue in the window, watching me. Graham was gone, back to his kitchen vigil. I stood on the porch, looking at the lake. I remembered all the years I had sent the money, all the holidays I had endured the insults, all the times I had swallowed my rage, just hoping for a crumb of respect. I thought this moment would feel like victory. It did not. It was not loud. It was not triumphant. It was just quiet. This was not victory. It was liberation. I was opening my car door. Wait! Noah ran up one last time, his hand outstretched. He was holding a small, black USB stick. I forgot, he panted. It is the rest of that audio file, from the lake house. The rest? Yeah. Lydia, she was bragging to my mom, after the pool party, about her connections, about how she was untouchable. She was talking about Senator Brown and how she donated from the foundation to his personal campaign fund, and how he made her problem with the new store's zoning variants disappear. I looked at the small piece of plastic in my hand. Political corruption, bribery. She said she was protected. Noah whispered, looking over his shoulder. I thought you should have it, just in case. I closed my hand around the drive. I looked at this 14-year-old kid, my ally, my friend. I smiled, a real, tired, genuine smile. Maybe this time, Noah, I said, slipping the drive into my pocket. We will not even need it. I paused. And if we do, we will use it to protect the innocent, not to destroy anyone else. I got in the car. I started the engine. As I pulled out of the long, tree-lined driveway, I saw my father, finally, step out onto the porch. I did not look back. I drove past the gates, away from Crescent Falls. If you have watched this story, if you have listened all the way to the end, maybe it is because you are also funding a family that does not see you, that does not value you, that only respects your checkbook. If you are waiting for them to change, if you are waiting for them to wake up and see your worth, trust me, they will not stop on their own. The only person who can stop it is you. Respect is not a luxury. It is the minimum price of admission into your life. Thank you so much for listening to my story. I would love to know where you are all listening from. So please drop a comment below and share your thoughts. Be sure to subscribe to Lila Revenge Stories, like this video, and give us extra support by hitting that hype button to help this story be heard by more people.